Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another First Impressions video. And I was able to go to the range tonight. In fact, I had kind of planned to film the garage portion of the range report for the Kel-Tec P32. I have the script all written up, and I have the range footage all edited. I was ready to make the final product on this, but then I discovered in the next couple of days, actually starting tomorrow, we have a deep freeze coming. So I was thinking to myself, well, when it's that cold and potentially, well, it's a slight possibility, we could have some ice around here. Well, if I finish that range report, then I'm going to have nothing else to work on here at the Texas Gun Vault. Well, I could come up with some other ideas, but I'm trying to get through the guns that I have in the big pile that I need to get done with. So I said, maybe tonight I should go to the range instead, get ahead on filming content. So that is what I did. So tomorrow I can film the garage portion of the Kel-Tec P32, and then of course start the editing of the range footage on the three things that I took to the range tonight. So let's talk about those things and share with you my initial thoughts and experiences. So as always, I know some people are going to find this video and are not familiar with this channel. This is the Texas Gun Vault 2. This is my behind-the-scenes channel. This is not my main channel. This is not an official review. You're not going to see any range footage here. This is not my final thoughts on any of the guns or products you're about to see me talk about. This is just a channel where I literally come home from range. Like literally, I just closed the garage door and took these out of the car, and we're talking about them. And that is all this is, so we can just have a little conversation. So please don't tell me in the comment section, that's a terrible review, because it's not a review. Okay, caveat out of the way. So let's talk about the things I took to the range. First thing was the Glock 30, and this one is a Gen 3. And this one is on loan to the channel from my friend Bill, and I've shown you that he has lent a few of the 45 caliber Glocks to the channel for review. So I started off with a 21 Gen 4. I just finished the final product on the 41 Gen 4. So which of course is the longer slide or longer barreled version of the 21. So I said, okay, so the next obvious one would be the compact version of the 21, the Glock 30. Holds 10 rounds of 45 ACP, definitely a little bit smaller. But it's still a very, very thick gun. In fact, I think when it comes to the dimensions of this gun and the ability to carry this gun, I think the width is the biggest detraction of it. It's just too thick. And there's other small 45s out there that maybe not have this capacity. I mean, 10 rounds of 45 in a gun this small is pretty good. Pretty good. But you can go with like an officer size 1911, which is a lot slimmer. Get 7 rounds in that. I know there's a few other companies that have compact 45s that have pretty good capacity, rivaling this. And of course, you can, if you wanted it, I don't know if I got the magazine out here, you can put a 21 mag in this. So you can put 13 rounds in it. The mag's just going to stick out a little bit further. You also have base plates for the magazine. Now, the owner of this pistol has put on the thumb rest kind of extension on all the mags. So the base plates are a little bit different, but it does allow you to get that third finger on there. So I wasn't able to test this with just a standard Glock 30 mag, but I think this is a pretty standard upgrade that most people do, even if you don't get the +1 extension on it. So how did this gun shoot? My expectation for this gun, and this is actually my first time ever shooting a Glock 30. My expectation was, because the 45 caliber Glocks typically, they shoot okay for me, nowhere near as good as the 9s. I knew with the 21, I got a decent group, I say practical accuracy. The 41 was a little bit better. I was kind of expecting this one to be a little bit harder to shoot. It's smaller, more compact. If you know the, laws of physics, you're thinking, okay, it's going to be a little bit snappier, a little bit harder hitting, and the shorter sight radius, it's going to be a little bit harder to get a good group. So I was expecting the group to get a little bit bigger, but still be good for concealed carry. Actually, this gun group pretty darn good. Like, I think it shot better than the 21 and the 41. At 25 yards and at 7 yards, this gun grouped better than those other full-size 45s. At like 12 to 15 yards, the group opened up a little bit. It wasn't bad. It was probably on par with those other guns, and I think that's because of the shorter sight radius, and this just has stock Glock sights on it. But I was very impressed with how this gun shot. The recoil impulse was not as bad as I was thinking it was going to be. And not that I was thinking it was going to hurt or anything, but, you know, it's a 45 caliber handgun that's really small. And 45 is, you know, a pretty powerful cartridge. So it actually exceeded my expectations in that department. This is a much more shootable gun than I was thinking. I was thinking, if you carry a Glock 30 or own a Glock 30, you know, if you're a big fan of 45 and you know how to shoot 45, I would, you know, maybe not recommend this for somebody with, you know, weak hands or a new shooter, but they could easily get to this level, no problem. I was very impressed with the shootability of this gun. It was very consistent. I did have one malfunction with ball ammunition, and I discovered that I had this issue on the 41 as well, where sometimes in these magazines I do get around the 45 to nosedive in the front and not go onto the feed ramp of the barrel. But it only happened one time. So that kind of mirrored my experience with the 41. So I had a good time with this. Probably the best accuracy of any of the 45 Glocks that I've shot so far. And I think this is going to be a good review, and it did surprise me. All right, the next thing that I took to the range is a rifle on loan to the channel from my friend D. And you guys know he has an amazing collection. And this is one I've been really excited to try out. This is the Geissele. Let me get the exact model on this. I guess this is the GFR-05 is what it's called. But it's chambered in 6mm arc. Now, I have a little bit of experience with 6mm arc because D let me borrow another one of his rifles in this caliber, and I actually really like this caliber. It is, I definitely think, superior in many ways to 5.56. Of course, downside is going to be ammo availability and price, but I can definitely see the advantage of this cartridge. Ballistically, it's very nice and very low recoil. I guess it's supposed to have a very flat trajectory, and it's just groups great accuracy. So I decided on this rifle that this is going to be one of the ones that I'm also going to go to the 100-yard range with. Sometimes when it comes to defensive rifles or carbines or whatever, I'll just do a 25-yard range test. You know, I do my first shots and so forth, magazine change, mag dump test, and I do like a 25-yard test. This one I really felt is due a longer range, out to 100 yards. So I was able to save just enough. I didn't have a ton of 6 arc available, but I kind of, you know, was very judicious in how I filmed things and made sure I had enough to go to the 100-yard range. So I do need to go back to the range with this when my range is open to the public so I can get on the rifle range and just film a little bit of that, and that will give me all the range footage I need on this gun. It shot great. This is a fantastic gun. The only thing that I really need to check on, and I'm going to need to take this optic off after I get back from the range, the 100-yard range, because this might be a very heavy optic. And I felt that this gun was a little bit unbalanced. I feel like it's very heavy and very front heavy, but I gotta make sure it's not this optic. It does seem to be mounted right where I would want it, back towards the rear of the gun, but I really feel like it's just a heavy gun, and I'm curious if maybe it's the handguard or the upper. I don't know, because we have some other things here on this upper, and you can see here on the side. I'm not really sure what all this is about here. Maybe it has to do something with beefing up the 6 arc. I don't know. So I have to kind of take this thing down. The barrel profile looks like it's like medium. Maybe it's like a government profile. I don't know. It just feels like it's a little bit heavier than it should be, but it could be the optic. And this gun groups great, shoots great. Absolutely loved it. Super fast trigger in this, of course, being a Geissele. This is going to have one of their Geissele triggers in it. Just a great experience with this rifle. I just need to go back to the longer range and film a little bit of content there. The other thing that I decided to do was to film the suppressor that D lent to the channel. And honestly, I have to give a huge shout out to D as always because, not only does he have an amazing collection he lends to the channel, he also takes, the time to fill out the paperwork and, because this is an NFA item and things. So to be put on the gun trust and everything, it means a lot to me. So I can film this content and bring it to you. So thank you, D, for that. And I decided to take to the range the Huxwrx Flow 6K, and that's a dedicated 6mm suppressor from Huxwrx. So it's a flow-through suppressor, low-resistance suppressor, kind of short, being the K model. And this was an okay suppressor. I've reviewed quite a few of the other Huxwrx cans and other rifle cans. Maybe because it's such a small silencer, I don't feel like it suppresses all that well. In fact, this suppressor, I think, has 3 things going against it, okay? Not that it performed bad. It's just when it comes to the type of suppressors I like certain features. And this one has 3 things on it that I don't like. Number 1, the size. I'm a bigger fan of the larger volume because you get better suppression and better tone. And I know the advantage of a K suppressor or a short suppressor is that it is compact. You still get decent suppression with it. But I feel like a larger version of this can would be better. The baffle design in this, with that flow-through design or the low resistance, I find that those don't suppress as well as traditional baffles, typically. Now, there have been a few, like the B&T suppressor I reviewed, that had great tone and was really quiet with that flow-through baffle design. But in general, I think you get a little bit higher pitch because I don't think it really suppresses as well. And it also gets really hot because of the baffle design. I've discovered that the suppressors with these very complex baffle designs that have so much surface area inside, they get hot and they stay hot. Now, I'm not sure what this suppressor is made of based off of its weight, and this is before doing any research. And don't tell me, you should go do research before you talk about things. Well, I'm going to do research before I do the proper range report. But this thing feels like stainless steel or Inconel is what it does. I mean, it's small, but it's a pretty hefty suppressor. So that typically retains the heat more than like titanium, I've discovered. Stainless steel mainly does it. Inconel is pretty good. So this is probably stainless. If I had to guess, I don't know if it's going to say. My gut says probably stainless, but I could be wrong. But I think it gets a little bit too hot because of its size, volume, and the baffle design. But it was okay for what it is, and it definitely suppressed the gun just fine. It had really no change in ballistics or, point of impact. So it was overall pretty good. So I try to make videos whenever I have a gun lent to the channel. If I can make multiple videos with that gun, I do. So for example, if a gun is interesting and complex to like disassemble, I'll make a field strip video of that gun as well as the range report. So when this firearm was lent to the channel, it had the suppressor on it. So I was like, you know what? We need to do a suppressor review as well. So I was, once again, very judicious in my ammo usage because I didn't have a lot of 6mm. So some of the tests I was able to kind of duplicate on both. So for example, like I always do the mag dump test on my range report. So I did that. But I also do a test when I review suppressors where I try to get the suppressor as hot as I possibly can, see how hot it gets with the laser thermometer, wait 5 minutes to see how cool it gets and how fast it cools off. So I'm going to use that footage from the mag dump on both videos. So if that makes any sense. So then I would film the heat thing. So I kind of did both at the same time, and I'm able to kind of pull from both videos to do the reviews. So that tried to save a little bit of ammunition. So anyway, that's what I got. Overall, a great time at the range. Pretty cool products, great rifle, but I think I was most impressed with the Glock 30 tonight. This is a better pistol than I thought it would be. And I don't think this is a very popular pistol anymore. The world of guns right now is very much geared towards 9mm. And I know people are like, 45 is just as good, it's just as relevant. Yes, it is. I'm just saying, when you go to any location, a gun store, whatever, and you look at what's in the shelves, and you look at what people are taking home with them, right? You're going to see a lot of 9mm. That is the dominant. I would be curious, if anybody that watches this channel works for a gun store, just kind of generally tell me, off the top of your head, what percentage of handguns, pistols, semi-automatic pistols, do you sell that are 9, 40, 45, and then other calibers? I would guarantee you 75% are 9mm. I guarantee you that's what it is. We live in a 9mm world, whether you like it or not. And I kind of feel like this is not going to be a very popular gun, but it shoots pretty darn well. So there you go. My first impressions on 3 really, really nice guns and a silencer. So there you go. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you have any experience with Geissele rifles, the Glock 30, or the Huxwrx suppressors, especially the one in 6mm arc? And I have a few more reviews coming out of Huxwrx suppressors in the near future, which I hope you guys enjoy. So, if you made it to the end of this video, the word of the day is going to be surprise. Surprise is the word of the day because the Glock 30 surprised me. So use that word in a comment. I know you made it to the end, and you are able to survive the torture of listening to me talk, ramble on, babble on, and just talk about guns. So it means a lot to me. So thanks as always for joining me here in the garage, and I'll try to be back with another one very soon. So as always, thanks for watching.